2000, I'm back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back. Welcome back. Once again to Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Summit Kaiju, on behalf of Collect All Monsters. And I'm back again with another great X Plus figure review. You know what I'm saying? You click the title, you already know who we're covering in this awesome video. So without further ado, let's dive here first into this awesome X Plus 30cm standard figure review. And today we're taking a look at the X Plus 30cm standard edition of the 1993 Godzilla, based off its appearance in the super cool 5th Heisei Godzilla film, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. And as you can see, I have the beautiful figure here, as well as the box here. And you know how we do things around here. You know what I'm saying? We've been through this a few times before. You know what I'm saying? So let's go into the box. Once again, this is such an awesome box with a picture of Godzilla, the full figure in the foreground, his face in the background, his name and all his yellow glory and all that good stuff. Once again, such a great box. Now, let me preface this by saying this, ladies and gentlemen. I actually double dipped on this release. Actually, I have the Rick version of the 30cm 93 Godzilla in the archives of the channel. Please check it out. So I'm really, in this video, I'm not going to rehash a whole bunch of the stuff that was in that video, because this is virtually the same figure, you see what I'm saying? The only thing that's different between the two figures is the fact that the Rick version comes with gold glitter applied to his body, you see what I'm saying? But more or less, it's virtually the same figure. It's the same sculpt, nothing was changed except the color is different, or at least the golden application on the Rick is the difference between that figure and this one, you see what I'm saying? And when it comes to the boxes, you know what? Since I did double dip, you know, you get a good difference of the box. As you can see, you know, the standard is more darker, signifying, you know, the more darker tone of the standard, and you have the more yellowish golden glitter paint scheme applied to the box of the Rick. So I really like that, you know, they did that with the boxes, you know what I'm saying? Not only to make it different between the two figures, but to make it different between the two boxes. So I really do enjoy that. Now, let me just say this also, ladies and gentlemen. The 1993 Godzilla, or at least the film, I'm not really a big fan of, quite frankly. I enjoy the film. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate the film, but it is like one of my least favorite Godzilla films that I rarely go back to, quite frankly. And you're probably wondering, then why did you double dip on this release? And the reason why is because I have both versions of the Heisei Mechagodzilla 30cm from X Plus, right? I have the standard edition, and I have the Super Mechagodzilla, the Rick edition. And you know me, I'm huge into setups. I love creating setups, completing setups with the exact same monsters from the exact same movie. And once again, that version of Mechagodzilla is not one of my favorites either. But once again, I don't hate it. I do enjoy it. But at the same time, it is a nice figure. And that's one thing I've always said, that, you know, unless you straight up hate a film, then don't deny yourself great kaiju pieces from a film that may not be one of your favorites. You see what I'm saying? Now, once again, if you straight up hate it and you just don't like it and you see yourself going without it, then that's fine. But since I don't necessarily hate this film or hate this incarnation of Godzilla, I had a double dip to have something go up against my standard Mechagodzilla Heisei and my Super Mechagodzilla Heisei. And that's the reason why I double dipped. And also, in a way, you kind of get more mileage out of this version, but I'll talk about that later on. Once again, don't want to rehash a whole bunch of the same stuff that I covered in the Rick video. But this figure was first released, it was first showcased at the Winter Wonder Festival show back in Japan back in February. And the Ricks came into collectors' hands late July. And we thought the standards were going to be released at the same time, because that's what normally happens anyway, right? But they pushed the standards back to late August. So if you did pre-order the standard, be on the lookout. It should be on its way to you as we speak. Now, mind you, I got mine through Hobby Search, the standard through Hobby Search, right? And of course, we all know about the shipping situation in Japan right now. The EMS shipping situation is kind of like not fully operational at this point in time. So I opted for DHL shipping. And I know that the DHL shipping option is really expensive, and it's not on everybody's good side. I get that. But you make up for it in the service, because I paid for this on a Friday, and it got to my house, no lie, no joke, on that same Monday. So basically, over the weekend, it took basically almost like 2 or 3 days from Japan to Raleigh, North Carolina or Knightdale, North Carolina in like 3 days, you can't beat that service. But I understand from a lot of people's point of view that I'm not paying that over-exaggerated shipping price, you know, to get my figures. You see what I'm saying? I understand that. I always maintain the philosophy that, you know, certain figures are worth the exception. Like I mentioned with the gigantic Mechagodzilla. And of course I did it with this one. But the reason why I got it, you know, I chose DHL shipping because actually after this figure, I only have like maybe 3 pre-orders left for the rest of the year. Because I'm getting really selective with what I want to add to my collection. So, and plus I'm not currently tracking down past figures on eBay or Mandarake or Buyee or whatever. I've kind of slowed down in my collecting and I'm just getting the newer stuff. But after this one, I'm only expecting 3 things. That's the Death of Real 74 Godzilla Rick, the Death of Real Mechagodzilla 74 Rick, and the 25cm Iris. After that, I'm not really getting anything else. So I have a little extra money to pay for the DHL shipping. So I think certain situations, you know, you can make the argument that DHL shipping is expensive. But I do believe that in certain cases, you know, make certain exceptions for certain figures. Because I'm just, with the EMS shipping situation in Japan right now, we don't know when that's going to be back up and running. You see what I'm saying? So you may, you know, pre-order a figure and you may pay for it now. But at that point, it's really out of hobby searchers' hands. You see what I'm saying? They'll send it off to EMS, but it'll just sit in a warehouse or wherever they have these packages sitting at. And they'll just sit there until things get back up and running again. So for all we know, you may not see your package for like another 3 or 4 months. We don't know. So that's why I make the argument for the DHL shipping to make it an exception for certain figures every now and then. But in my situation, since I'm not really getting too much after this one, it made up for the fact that I could be able to use the DHL shipping option here, excuse me. And I'm glad I did, because this is a great figure. It is a great figure. Once again, we're getting close to the completion of the Heisei Godzillas when it comes to X Plus, because they've done pretty much every single one. When it comes to the 25, 30, Gigantics, Sakai's, they pretty much cover every incarnation of the Heisei Godzilla, except for the 94, and you gotta know at some point it is coming. But as I mentioned earlier, where you get a lot more mileage with this figure, in regards to the 94, I will explain more about that later on. So you know, we do things around here. Let's get up close and personal. And you know what? I'm gonna bring up the Rick so you can see basically the difference between the 2 figures. And as you can see here, the Rick, once again, it's a great option with the gold paint glitter application. I know that's one of the reasons why a lot of people skipped out on the Rick and went with the standard. Now, I also believe that's probably one of the reasons why that the standard got delayed versus the Rick. I think the Rick only had only a certain amount of pre-orders, you know, whatever, where the standard had probably an overwhelming demand amount. And that's what happens sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't the first, or this is not the first X Plus figure release to have like the Rick released before the standards, or the standards released before the Ricks. Like last year, the Gigantic 2019, right? The standards came out in November. The Ricks came out in December of that year. You see what I'm saying? Or the Gigantic Burning Godzilla, the first one, 2014. They brought out the Ricks in late July, and they brought out the standards like in September of that year. So it happens every now and then, you see what I'm saying? Once again, I think that attributes to the fact that an overwhelming amount was applied to the standards. And once again, we are going through a pandemic right now, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. But once again, if you locked in for a pre-order for this guy, trust me, you will enjoy it. But between 2 figures, they're awesome. They really are awesome. Let me just say this right now. I enjoy the Rick. I really do. I don't really have any issues whatsoever with the Rick, with the gold paint application of the figure. I think they did a great job with that. I think they did a perfect job with that. It's not too overly saturated. You see what I'm saying? They applied just the right amount of glitter to create such an awesome effect, where it's not too much, but applied just enough for it to stand out against the Rick, against the standard and other figures in my collection. Because, you know, when you collect a whole bunch of Godzilla figures, you have, you know, a sea of gray and white, and if you collect King Ghidorah, you got gold, and a Mechagodzilla, you have like silver and chrome or whatever. So it's nice to have those figures that stand out, and the Rick 93 does stand out. But I do have to say, I do like the standard more. I do like the standard more. Because once again, they did a great job with the sculpt. Once again, the difference between the two sculpts, there isn't one, quite frankly. It's just the paint, it's just different. But the sculpt is great on this Godzilla. You see what I'm saying? And when it comes to this standard Godzilla, it's not a straight black finish on the skin. They actually applied some light gray highlights to give it more depth or whatever. Unlike the Sakai 84 that came out earlier this year. Once again, I love that figure, but it's more so of a black finish. And I can understand because it is taken at a point in the film where Godzilla is in a nighttime situation. So I can understand why that figure is more of a blackish color. But with this figure right here, they applied not golden, that's the red. The standard, they applied gray or at least light, dirty white highlights on certain areas of his body, whether it's his torso, his legs, or whatever. Just the overall skin texture of the figure has like highlights on it, you know, to give it more depth, to give it more exuberance. And I really do enjoy that. The dorsal plates, dirty bone white, you know, whatever. The tail is really long. Once again, no difference in the scope between this one and the Rick. The claws and as well as his toes, basically just like the Rick, you know, dirty bone white over or whatever. The eyes, I painted a little bit orange, I believe. I think with black pupils or whatever. The tongue is painted dirty brown or maroon. He has like a dirty finish on his teeth. Not too dirty, unlike the first Sakai 89. We already know about that figure, how dirty his teeth was. I mean, Godzilla's not King Caesar. He's not going to have like pearly white teeth. I get that. But at least with this Godzilla figure, they applied enough dirty shade on it where it does come off like more natural. You see what I'm saying? Because it would look really weird, I have to say, if Godzilla came out of the ocean with pearly white teeth. You see what I'm saying? But this is such a great figure. Once again, I'm not going to rehash a whole bunch of the same stuff I did in my Rick video. Please check it out when you get a chance. But once again, this is such a great figure, an awesome figure, and I'm glad I double dip. And I know some people frown upon that, you see what I'm saying? Some people don't see the point in double dipping, but for me, I have a valid reason. Like I said, I have two Heisei Mechagodzillas, and I needed something to go up against him. So once again, you know, double dipping may be frowned upon by certain people, but I say if you can afford it, go for it. And once again, this was well worth me double dipping. I don't do it very often. I probably do it maybe once or twice a year, or it depends on what figure it is, quite frankly. But once again, if you can afford it, go for it. Go for it. And this guy is definitely worth it. He's a good size, 31 centimeters tall, which is like what, 12.25 inches tall, you know, whatever. It's a good size, and it's a good size figure overall. They did a great job from head to toe, the claws, the teeth, the tongue, the toes, the dorsal plates, the way the tail is sculpted here. Once again, a solid release of this year, 2018, where we're seeing great figures from the Sakai 84, as I mentioned, the gigantic Mechagodzilla 74, the super cool Defo Reels that we have gotten, you know, the MonsterVerse King Ghidorah, MonsterVerse Rodan, the recent Defo Reel King Caesar. Oh my God, such great figures that it brought this year, and you can definitely add this one onto the list. So if you have one on lock on pre-order, you will not be disappointed once you get your hands on this figure. Yes. The X Plus 30 centimeter standard edition of the 1993 Godzilla. Now, I'm only going to do just one size comparison. Yeah, I'm not going to drown the figure review in size comparisons, because I kind of did that already in my 93 Rick video. So I'm going to do just one size comparison. Now, I mentioned earlier that I do enjoy this figure more so I just like the overall paint application of this figure more. I'm not trying to hate on the Rick, because I love that figure too, but I love this figure a little bit more. And another reason why I love this figure more, because when it comes to setups, you get more mileage out of that, and I will explain that in this next size comparison. So let's go with the one and only size comparison with this figure right now. Okay, folks, this is the first and only size comparison, and yeah, as you can see, the X Plus 30 centimeter standard edition of the 93 Godzilla is surrounded. Yes. Now, I mentioned earlier that you get a lot of mileage with this figure, and I'll explain that momentarily. But let me introduce the cast of characters that surrounded the King of the Monsters, at least the Heisei version of the King of the Monsters. You have from left to right, you have the 30 centimeter standard edition of the Heisei Mechagodzilla. You have the 30 centimeter standard edition of Space Godzilla. Behind Godzilla, you have the 30 centimeter Rick exclusive edition of Super Mechagodzilla. I think that's the battle damage or battle weary version that came out late last year. And you have the 30 centimeter standard edition. No, that's the Rick. Yeah, I pay a lot of money for that. That's the 30 centimeter Rick exclusive edition of Mogera from Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. And down there in the foreground, you have the 25 centimeter Little Godzilla that came with the 25 centimeter Space Godzilla Rick exclusive edition set. And once again, the mileage that I was talking about is the fact that since we don't have a proper 1994 Godzilla, you can use this 93 Godzilla as a 94 stand-in until we do get either a 25 centimeter or 30 centimeter or a Sakai 94. Now, he goes great up against Mechagodzilla, Super Mechagodzilla, but once again, the differences between the 93 and 94 Godzilla, and yes, there are differences, but they're really, really minuscule in the grand scheme of things, where really hardcore Godzilla fans and or purists can tell you, yeah, this is different from this one and blah, blah, blah. But by and large, they look pretty much the same, quite frankly. So when it comes to figure setups, you can actually get away from not only using this Godzilla for the 93 movie, you can definitely use it for the 94 movie, you know what I'm saying? And of course, you know, you can put this Godzilla up against, you know, the standard Heisei Mechagodzilla and recreate that scene. You can use this up against Super Mechagodzilla and recreate that scene. You see what I'm saying? I think you could use Fire Rodan if you want to lay Fire Rodan on top of Godzilla to recreate that scene. Space Godzilla and Mogera, once again, these are great figures, even though the movie is not really up there with me. But I have to admit, S Plus has done a phenomenal job with both of these figures. And for a while now, they just been standing on my shelf thinking to themselves, hey, when are we going to get some competition? But now you got it. Now you got it. I used to use my 92 30 centimeter Godzilla to put up against Space Godzilla and Mogera. But since the 93 here looks more like the 94, you get more of a better presentation with this 93 Godzilla than with the 92. Now, as far as Little Godzilla, yes, he's a little bit smaller than what he should be. He should be 30 centimeters to be the proper height as he was in the film in comparison to Godzilla. But I still think you can get away with it. I think once you put Godzilla, Little Godzilla, and Space Godzilla all within like the same frame, you know what I'm saying? Like, the size difference is not going to really matter that much because the overall effect of seeing these three monsters together to recreate what happened in the film is a great thing. So between Mechagodzilla, Space Godzilla, Super Mechagodzilla, Fire Rodan, Mogera, Little Godzilla, you get more of a mileage with this figure as far as setups. And that's one of the main reasons why I had to have this figure and why I had to double dip when it comes to this figure. As you can see here, and as you can see earlier in my inserts, you can do so many different things and setups with this version of Godzilla, which make it that much more awesome. So that's pretty much it for the first and only size comparison. So let me go to my final thoughts of this figure right now, and let's do it right now. All right, let's go. Okay, folks, I'm back with my final thoughts of the X Plus 30 centimeter standard edition of the 1993 Godzilla. Once again, a solid release. Yes, it is. I like it more than the Rick, even though I love the Rick, don't get me wrong. But I like the standard just a little bit more considering what you can do as far as like setups with this figure. Until we do get a proper 94, as you saw in the last segment, you could put this Godzilla with pretty much Mechagodzilla, Super Mechagodzilla, Little Godzilla, Space Godzilla, Mogera. You see what I'm saying? You get a lot more mileage as far as like completing setups or having the more picturesque setup, if you will, with this Godzilla then versus like the Rick. Because the Rick, you can only do it with Fire Rodan and Super Mechagodzilla, but with the standard here, you get a lot more. So once again, a solid release. You know, they've done a great job. I don't know who they got doing the sculpting nowadays, but between this figure, the 2025 centimeter that came out last year, the 25 centimeter 64B Godzilla, if you take this figure sculpt and put it up against like the 92, as I mentioned earlier, you can definitely see there's a difference between the two sculpts. Now, I won't say this is like Sakai, or Sakai material, or Sakai level type of detail, but it's like a little step below it, which is still high praise in my opinion. So I don't know who they got doing the sculpting now, but whoever they got doing it, they're doing a good job with this recent crops of Godzilla figures that we've been getting from Japan as of late. Like I said, with the 2000 and the 64B, and now with this one, they have done they have stepped their game up, sculpting wise, you know, and you can definitely tell with the skin texture, with the paint application. They have done a great job, and I'm looking forward to see what else they may have in store for us, as far as like other Godzilla figures that we have not seen yet, but we know they gotta come at some point. As I mentioned, the 94 is definitely coming at some point. We don't have a 72. We don't have a proper 30 centimeter, 25 centimeter 74. We don't have 30 centimeter 65 just yet. So there are a few Godzillas out there that they have not done yet, and with this level of detail that they're putting into them, I can't wait for those to come out. Now, before I leave, I do want to talk about the films, you know, both 93 and 94. I know I have been not exactly the most positive advocate for these movies, and once again, you like what you like, you don't like what you don't like. You know, it's all subjective. You know, you understand what I'm saying with that. But I will tell you a couple things I do enjoy about both films. Now, I do enjoy, like with 93, I do enjoy how they changed Mechagodzilla's origin, where he's no longer an alien doomsday machine sent by aliens to destroy the world. Now he's a super weapon built by mankind to defend ourselves against Godzilla. And consider how the Heisei series was going into that more military direction, it made a lot of sense for us to build a Mechagodzilla, a giant robot, to combat or destroy the real thing. So I do like the origin, how we made this super robot in the form of Godzilla to take him out, and he almost came close. You got to give it to him, you know. Well, you know, whatever. Even though I do get this version of Mechagodzilla a lot of crap, but I can't take away from the fact that he almost came close to killing Godzilla. Not many monsters can say that. You see what I'm saying? Now, for Space Godzilla, once again, I do find that movie to be a train wreck, you know. But there is a few things I do appreciate about that movie. I do enjoy Little Godzilla. As a matter of fact, he's like my favorite version of the offspring of Godzilla from the Heisei period. I love Godzilla Jr., but it's just something about Little Godzilla that I love so much. So he's like like I said, my favorite offspring when it comes to the Heisei Godzillas. And I actually enjoy the fact that in this movie, we do get to see Godzilla face off against a flesh and blood Godzilla but that's something we have never seen before. We have seen him face against, you know, mechanical Godzillas, but we have never seen him face another flesh and blood Godzilla, which is almost what we got with the next film after this one with Godzilla vs. Destroyer. The original concept, for what I understand, was Godzilla versus Ghost Godzilla. In that movie, I guess the plan was to have the Heisei version fight the ghost of the original 1954 Godzilla that would materialize, you know, or form into a flesh and blood Godzilla. And that's something I always wanted to see. I've always wanted to see a Godzilla versus Godzilla movie where the real Godzilla will face off against another real flesh and blood Godzilla. And by all intents and purposes, we kind of get that in this film, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. So there are some things to appreciate, even though, like I said, they're on my lower tier of favorite Godzilla films, but still they do provide entertaining value on some level. But once again, this is such a great figure. I'm glad I got it. Once again, if you are locked in for a pre-order, you would not be disappointed. So yes, such an awesome figure. Kudos to X Plus for making this happen. I really do appreciate it on behalf of myself, and for those who have ordered this figure, we thank you and we love you, and we are in hog heaven for having this awesome piece represented in our collection. So that pretty much concludes my review of the X Plus Standard Edition of the 1993 Godzilla, based off its appearance in the super cool 5th Heisei Godzilla film, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. You have any questions, comment down in the comment section. Hit me on Facebook via Leslie P. Chambers. We definitely go from there. Yes, once again, great figure. Great figure. Oh my God. Man, he looks great up against Space Godzilla. Let me just tell you, for Space Godzilla, once again, I'm not a big fan of the film, but that figure, the 30 centimeter as well as the 25, but more so the 30, I love that figure. You know, if you got that figure, now he first came out, what, 2013, I believe? And that's, in my opinion, probably an underrated figure. And it's a shame that he doesn't have any figures to go up against him to create a good setup. Look no more, ladies and gentlemen. Look no further than this guy right here. As you can see right here, he does provide a suitable figure opposition to that figure, and it's great and it's awesome. But not only him, Heisei Mechagodzilla, Super Mechagodzilla, Mogera, little Godzilla, even though the different size difference is kind of like, you can get away with it. You can get away with it, you see what I'm saying? But once again, you get so much mileage out of this figure, you know what I'm saying? And I do enjoy the Rick, as I mentioned earlier, but between the two, as I mentioned before, I kind of like this one more, and because you get more out of it, quite frankly. But both figures are awesome, both the standard and the Rick of the 93 Godzilla, courtesy of X Plus 30cm roster. Is such an awesome addition. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I need to apologize. I know in my last video when I covered the Toho Frankenstein books, the Toho Special Effects Movies Frankenstein books, and the Water Gargantua books. If you saw the tail end of that video, the very end, I said my next video will probably be the Roto Kaiju Giant Gorilla King Kong from King Kong Escapes figure review or model kit review. But I just got this in the mail like this week, so I wanted to cover this first, quite frankly, just to give everybody a heads up that it is coming. But trust me, the Roto Kaiju King Kong from King Kong Escapes model kit review will be the next video, so hold on to your seats for that. I'm looking forward to doing that. But once again, get this figure. You were not disappointed with the X Plus Standard Edition or Rick exclusive edition of the 1993 Godzilla from Godzilla's Mechagodzilla 2. Alright, so thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all again on the next Figure Move review. Alright, y'all take it easy.